Students, here's your tutorial on assembling your Automata cube. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up the left hand corner, select New, and inside New we're going to go and create a standard assembly. Go ahead and hit Create. We're going to let our environment load. Once it loads, we're going to start to bring in our parts. So in the upper left hand corner we want to select Place. If this is different, it says any of these, you can always click down on this arrow and select the correct one, which is Place. And where you're going to look is you're going to go to your Google Drive. In this case, I'm going to go to Mine, IED, class period. So I got Unit 4. All my parts are in Automata. I've already created the assembly, but I'm going to create another one for you guys. And you're going to bring in a part. Now, what I would suggest is just bring in one part for the first time. And the first part you want to bring in is the one that kind of like everything else connects to. In this case, the one part that all the other sides of your box connect to is actually the back. So I'm going to select the back and select Open. And when it brings in the correct orientation that I want, so I don't need to like right click and change any orientations. But I want to double check that on the left hand side of my model browser that back is grounded, which shows this little icon of a thumbtack. If yours does not show that, before you move or touch this, you want to right click and you want to select Grounded. That will remove all the degrees of freedom inside of this part. So it may look like we can move it around, but if you actually try to click and hold with the left click, you can't move it around. You can only pan around the different areas. So now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and Place, and I'm going to bring in my side. Bring Open, and right now my side is not in the correct orientation that I want. And so I'm just going to kind of move this around. Again, you're going to have to, your parts are going to be maybe modeled a little bit differently than mine. I know I need to rotate this around the Z, and then I need to rotate this around the X so I get the flat edge in the front. So I'm going to click down, and I know I have two sides, so I'm going to click down over here, right click OK. So now I have my two sides, and you can see I move these two sides, but I can't move the back. So now I'm going to start assembling these where these sides will fit in the little grooves that we've created. So to do this, I'm going to select Constraint, and in my Constraint box, we've already messed with a bunch of these constraints before. We're mostly going to be focusing on just the regular mate type, and then either using the mate solution or the flush solution. And this is a good indication if you look at the pictures how they work. A mate solution will have either two faces opposing each other or touching each other, kind of like this icon. This icon, they're going to be facing the same way. So you want to think what faces in these like tabs will actually touch each other so we can get rid of movements. Our goal here is to get rid of movement on the Y, on the X, and on the Z. We don't want this to move on any of those. We want it to be stuck in place. So I'll first say, okay, I'm going to constrain. And I know that this part of the tab is going to fit within, if I rotate around, this face. So I'm going to try that first. So I'm going to click this face, swing it around, and I'm going to click inside this little tab. And you can see there that it places it in the tab. It's not yet perfect. You can see that we're a little off on height, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out and apply and hit cancel, and I'm going to see which dimension I got rid of. So in this case, it looks like I can still move it around, like completely. That's what it looks like. But if I go to the front view and I kind of click and I try to move this left and right, I can't because those faces are now touching each other. I can still move it up and down one way, and I can still move it left and right the other way. It's just those two faces are opposing each other at all times. So I kind of move that around. I get an idea of which constraints I got rid of, so I can still move up and down here. So I want to get rid of this movement. Now to do this, I know that I want the top of this part and the top of this part to be flush with each other. So I'm going to select Constraint Flush, and I'm going to select this top and this top. And you can see it kind of moves them. They're not touching, and that's fine. But I'm going to hit Apply, Cancel, and I'm going to go to my front face. I can't move it left or right. I can't move it up and down. But if I go to the left side of my cube, you can see I can still move it this way. So there are a few different ways to fix this constraint. here. I can say, okay, this tab, this back portion of the tab, is flush with the back here. That's one way. Another way is I could say this face right here is mated with this face. So there are quite different ways to actually complete a lot of these. So I've done that. I'm going to hit apply, cancel. I'm going to grab my part and I'm going to try to move it around. You can see it doesn't move around, so this one is fully constrained in place. I've removed all degrees of freedom. And there are a lot of different solutions. Okay? If you ever find yourself where you screwed up a solution and you know something was working, it didn't, so let's see here if I can try something. If I select, say, this bottom and I want this to mate with this top and I apply, you might get this assembly cannot be solved. If you accidentally accept this relationship, then you're going to have something called a sick constraint, or a constraint that just doesn't work. You won't really be able to constrain everything else because this sick constraint shows. So if I click show sick, if this is ever up, this shows the constraint and which one is not set up to work. Another way to see this is you can go into these little arrows. So for example, this is side 1. If I click this little arrow, you can see the constraints I've made, and you can see one that's not working. It has this little yellow triangle. It's an inconsistent mate. Well, I can right click and delete that, and I can try something else. Or maybe one of my other constraints is causing that other constraint you do want not to work. So again, utilize that, edit those constraints, delete those constraints so you can figure out which ones work. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and constrain this side to it. I'll move a little bit faster because I kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. So I know this face is going to be flush with this face, just another way to go about it. Apply. This face and this face will be flush. Apply. And this back face and this part will be flush. So just for that one, I used 3 different flushes, the same constraint, to get the same way. This one I used mates, this one I used flushes. Next, I'm going to place, I'm going to bring in my bottom, open. Here's my bottom. I want that flat side to be in the front, so I need to rotate around the Y a few times. And pretty much right there is where I want it. So click, right click, OK. And now I'm going to start putting this one in place. So I'm going to try to do mates, this entire one. So I know this face is going to mate with this inside face. Apply. I know this face will mate with that inside tab face right here. Apply. And then what kind of movement do I have left? Okay, so I have this left and right movement left. So I'm going to mate this face to this face. Apply. Now I shouldn't be able to move that. I can't. Wonderful. Nothing can move. And so for that bottom piece, I just showed you I can do all mates instead of flushes to make it work. So my last piece, I'm going to bring in the top. Okay. Place it down. Right click OK. Oh, look at this. I did not rotate it into place. That's fine. Because rotating will help you kind of visualize where things go, but you don't need to have it rotated in place to start constraining it. So for example, I know flush-wise that the front, this flat part, is going to go and be flush with all these other flat parts. So I can select that, and you can see that it automatically rotated. Sure, it threw it in the middle of the part, but that's fine. It doesn't really do any collision detection. So I'm going to select apply, and then I know I want this top to be flush with this top. Apply, and I should just be able to move left and right. So then constrain this side flush to this side, and I'll take a look at it. Apply. It looks good. I can't move anything, and everything looks good. So there, ladies and gentlemen, is your completed Automata cube for your assembly. Again, you can use many different constraints to make this happen. I showed you mate and flush and how you can use all mates or all flushes or a combination of both to make sure your piece is correctly seated in there.